May 10th, 1775, Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold took Fort Ticonderoga. May 11th, Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold's people are going to take Fort Crown Point. This is important because you just had the major loss of Lexington and Concord. Well, it wasn't a total loss because actually you had 73 redcoats who were killed. 49 Americans were killed and 73 redcoats. 700 redcoats are coming from Boston under Francis Smith. They're in Lexington, and just as the sun was rising, they heard a gunshot. 8 Americans are going to get killed. 1 redcoat's going to get killed. At first, overall, though, 49 Americans got killed, 73 redcoats. So did we lose? Paul Revere, Samuel Prescott is sitting there riding and saying, hey, watch out, the British are coming, the British are coming. So then the North Bridge, 1 if by sea, 2 if by 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, Breeds Hill, Bunker Hill. That's going to happen actually after Fort Ticonderoga. So the first battle of the Revolution is going to be Lexington and Concord. The second battle that I could tell is the taking of Fort Ticonderoga. And that's up there by Canada, by Quebec and shit. They took the cannons. Let's see, the cannons that they took from Fort Ticonderoga, they gave it to Henry Knox, and then Henry Knox took those cannons to break the siege in Boston. So there was a siege in Boston. And because we had a victory, this is a major victory. I guess this is more of the Americans were advanced, and the Americans were actually doing, offensive. Instead of defensive maneuvers, they were on the offensive. So Ethan Allen had 83 of his men. 83 of his men, they had gathered at 11:30 p.m. on May 9th. They gathered across Hands Cove. So they were there in Hands Cove at 11:30 p.m. May 9th. 83 of Ethan Allen's men. The Green Mountain Boys, the famous Green Mountain Boys. This is Vermont, I think, isn't it? So Arnold took Fort St. John, Fort St. Jean, and supplies. May 18th. Later on, the fucking Benedict Arnold's kind of kicking ass and taking names in the beginning of this fucking war. They actually had a red coat on Liberty's kids. They had a red coat on him. So it made him look like he was still British. I know you're saying you're on our side, but you're still wearing that damn red coat. What, this old thing? What, this old thing? And then there was like a war of words. Ethan Allen's men was, Ethan Allen was in charge, and Benedict Arnold was trying to get in command, but his men just wasn't listening to him, and it just pissed him off, and he took a whole bunch of notes. You're not going to listen to me? But I know so much, and I care so much. I know so much, and I care so much. And there is no deaths. There is no deaths. So whereas in Bunker Hill you had 140, maybe 115 Americans who were killed versus either 19 or 226. It had to be more than 19. 100 officers were killed at Bunker Hill, which should be the Battle of Breeds Hill, really. Daniel Shays was there. Daniel Shays was there at Bunker Hill. Don't ever let it be said that Daniel Shays was not there at Bunker Hill. So the Government Reorganization Act, they were pissed off. You had the Boston Tea Party. And then Britain passed the Government Reorganization Act where it says you can't have your own government no more. No, we're going to tell you what to do, and you're not going to have your little fucking government meetings. It's the British government, and that's it. That's the only government that's out here. So, let's see, cannons, Fort Ticonderoga, 83 men, right? So 11:30 they all gathered, and then 1:30 a.m. the boats arrived, but it wasn't enough. At 1:30 a.m. the boats arrived, it wasn't enough, and 83 of the Green Mountain Boys are going to go on. And then one guy goes back, but the element of surprise was gone by the time the sun comes up. So Ethan Allen just took his 83 men, and he said, let's do this. Let's do this thing. And there was only one guard on duty. There's just one guard on duty, and his gun jammed, so they go up to the fort, and the one guy who's on duty says, hey, stop you guys. Oh, no, and then he runs off. And then they just take over the sleeping fort. And then, he might have ran, oh, my God, they're coming, and then everybody was sleeping. 1:30 a.m., the boats arrived. They get there early in the morning, right? And the motherfucker who, he does that old King Charles the First thing, like, by what authority? By what authority do you? God's authority, motherfucker, my authority. What authority are you sitting there even asking that question? Shut your mouth. No, that's my country, and you're the fucking sovereign. Free speech for that bitch? Fuck that bitch. That bitch has talked too much. He's the only motherfucker we've been listening to. Now shut that bitch up, and then let the rest of the people speak of, by, and for the people. Of, by, and for the people. So that was like a bloodless coup. That was a bloodless revolution. Let's just go take the fort over. You catch the guard down with his pants down, just shitting all over the fucking roses. And then when his gun jams, then you take the rest of them are sleeping. They said that the general had his breeches in his hand. With his breeches in his hand, no, he was actually fully clothed there, Ethan Allen. And then there was 2 reports, Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold's report. So you should have turned in all the reports so that way you have all the perspectives but Benedict Arnold's report's going to get destroyed and Ethan Allen's report is going to be the one that we and Congress hears June 15th. The next month, George Washington is going to get appointed commander-in-chief. So a lot of shit's happening, right? So let's see. Let's put it in order. April 19th, 1775, Lexington and Concord. Shots heard around the world. And then you got Ethan Allen taking Fort Ticonderoga. May 10th, 1775. And then we go to Breed's Hill. Nope. Wait. Bunker Hill. Wow. Okay, so George Washington is appointed commander-in-chief on June 15th. And the Battle of Bunker Hill, June 17th, 2 days later. And we haven't even got to the Declaration of Independence. We haven't even got to Valley Forge. We haven't even got to anything yet. Bunker Hill was June 17th, 1775. And then that's it. Those are my main. So April 19th, Lexington and Concord. May 10th, Fort Ticonderoga is taken over. June 15th, George Washington is appointed commander-in-chief. June 17th, the Battle of Bunker Hill. The Battle of Bunker Hill. And they took the ground, but they lost 100 officers. And so that scared the shit out of George so fucking much. He's like, I'm not going to take that olive branch. No, if they want war, then I'm going to give them war. If he would have actually, he could have been so conciliatory. There's so many things that George could have done, but because he's like, it's mine, and it's all mine, and it'll always be mine. You're not fit to rule a goddamn teacup, let alone a fucking continent. Get the fuck out of here, George. Georgie Porgy, pudding pie. Georgie Porgy. Francis Smith. Nathan Hale only regrets he only has one life to give for his country. For my country, I only regret that I only have one life to give.